Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Okay, I think everything is working, and let me introduce the topic of today's webinar, which is dedicated specifically to one very important aspect of oilfield rentals and service operations is internal operations and how to keep the activities that are rather broad and encompassing, such as internal operations, under control using a system that is called RigER in its capabilities, both on mobile device and in the cloud, that is in the office. But first thing first, let me introduce myself. So my name is Nikolai Korniuk. I'm VP of Sales and Marketing here at RigER. Just one slide to show you where we are and how to find us. Obviously, we are extensively using LinkedIn as a communication tool, an information distribution tool with our current customers and the future customers as well. So please do follow us on LinkedIn, and that's the easiest way to be sure that you are getting the latest information about the product, about the team, and about the new developments here at RigER. So we're happy to see you among our army of followers, if you will. And one more slide, just to give a round of applause and a kind of huge heartfelt thanks from our team to the myriad of teams of our clients. So here is just a slide that represents some of those clients that we've been privileged to work with and work for, setting up our system. We know that we are considered to be a very important addition and part of those teams. So we do treasure and value our relationship and would like to bring even more companies if you have any questions and want to be part of our great team here on the screen of our clients. So we're available to talk to you anytime. So today's agenda and presenters. And many of you who are our clients may already know the people. If you're not our client, you will know these people as soon as you become our client. So today's presenters are Arsen Artnyan, who's our product manager, and Gleb Kobits, VP of operations. And the topic of today's presentations is going to be specifically broken down into several items. So we'll do the quick overview of the internal operations. We'll talk about the internal job ticket. It's an important thing. And many of you have mentioned that to us throughout the time that we've been working with you. So we'll talk about that. We will also discuss the assembly list and bill of materials as part of the internal operations and information and asset management. Intercompany transfer is another important thing that has always been flagged as a key for many companies that have multiple yards and different equipment locations that they need to keep track of. Defective units list, item disposable function, service calls and reports and dashboards. And also we'll close today's presentation with a Q&A. So let's get going.
Okay, thank you very much, Nikolai. Here's Gleb Kobits, VP of Operations in RigER, and I'm glad to see you all here today at our webinar. So let me first start with our meaning and our understanding of the internal operations in RigER. What we consider under the internal operations is what actually Nikolai has presented in the agenda slide, but basically along with the customers' jobs and customers' interactions, customers' documents and operations, we also allow you to track your internal operations, like moving the equipment or, for example, tracking of all your employees' activities that are dedicated to maintaining the equipment at the shop or on the warehouse or moving the equipment between yards, and also tracking the employees' time, also very important in order to circle the whole operation cycle of the company, both for the client's perspective and the internal aspect of all the operations. So let's start with the first document. So all the features that I will explain today are actually done within the documents in RigER. If you already know that, or if you're new to the RigER system, you probably need to understand that we perform all the actions and all the transactions in the RigER software in the documents. So internal job ticket is the document that allows you to track your employees' activities not related to the client's job. So you see on these slides, you have a department, so you can assign a internal job ticket to a particular department, and also if this is some kind of movement of the equipment or delivery of some kind of materials from your supplier to your shops, you can track the transportation unit or truck. And also this document is can also be splitted by line of businesses, different line of businesses that your company operates in. And also you are able to build a list of field technicians and their services and jobs that they are doing, and notes for each individual line item. And also you are able to track time of employees that are doing particular services. In every document in the RigER software, as you may already know, you have a comments section or comments tab where you can put any additional information. And these documents will be available for your employees as well. You can print this out and give to guys to perform some kind of jobs. So basically this document is generated by the dispatcher or operations manager who assigns different tasks to employees. The next document is the intercompany transfer. And that simple document allows you to move equipment between your different yards or locations or warehouses, wherever you name it. Sometimes you can even set up a location or department in the system. It can be some kind of a third-party location where you store your equipment, say in between of the client's rigs, pads, or different kind of areas. You can dedicate a particular location when you store temporarily your equipment, and you can move equipment to this location in the system. So it actually allows you to track your equipment better between different storages. So you just select from and to shops, and then you're also able to assign a field technician, truck and trailer, and specify particular asset numbers that you are moving, and also build a crew list and track time of employees also in order to do this job. If you assign a particular equipment to a shop or department, within this document you can also change these assignments. So you can change the home department for the equipment in this document by moving the equipment. The next document that allows you to better track your rental fleet, or even create a new rental items inside of the database, we call this assembly list. So assembly list essentially is the document where you combine different parts or individual rental assets into one bigger kind of combo unit. So you can build a new unit, assign a unit number to it, and all the related components of this unit number will be automatically assigned to a client's job whenever you move this equipment to the client's location. So there are a number of types of assembly list. So it's the same document, but different types of this document. Assembling, disassembling, replace, or purchase. Depending on the type of transaction that you are doing with this equipment, you will be selecting these types. So if you assemble the unit and then you, after the job, for example, you need to disassemble these, inspect all the components, and assemble again, you do the disassembly list. Or sometimes you need just to replace one component out of 4, 5, 10, whatever, and you will be doing the replace assembly list in order to keep your equipment ready to work. Next document is bill of materials. That's very similar to the assembly list, but this is associated with a materials or goods in your system, in your database. So, for example, if you have unserialized units or you have some kind of bulk units, say sand or something else, or some liquids, so you can again build a new unit, and you see that you can name it as something, and then you assign a shop where you store this equipment, and specifying materials, the system will calculate automatically the new cost for this unit. And one important thing here also is that all these materials that are on the list will be written off from your stocks or balances, and that will be included in new rental unit that you can then ship to the client's location. So another document which allows you to move equipment to the need repair status is the defective units list. You probably already know that you have a repair cards in the database, which allows you to repair units and mark them as need repair. But this usually happens when you return equipment from the client's locations. In some cases, you may need to repair your units that are sitting on your shop or yard. And in this case, you would need to generate a defective units list, which is also some kind of general document to specify the list of units that should be repaired. And when you fill out the list, then you click generate internal repair cards, and individual repair card for every single unit number will be generated. And then you can perform the repair and add any parts or services to the repair card in order to track the cost of the repair. So use these defective units list in case if you need to repair units internally, not after the client's job. In some cases, if the unit is completely damaged and need to be scrapped, we use the item disposal document. And again, you are able to specify a particular unit number and also the disposal value for the historic records. And when you post this document, this unit will be written off from the balances, so you wouldn't be able to ship this unit anymore. But at the same time, you will keep track of the historic records that this unit has been disposed, and in the comments you can again put the any comment why this unit was disposed. A new development in the RigER software is the service call module, and this document actually captures your client's request for any kind of activities. It may be some kind of additional services on the job, or if the client requests additional equipment to the location. So your dispatchers or office administrator or whoever takes a call from the client can capture this information in the service call, put notes or internal comments, and also specify the client and location where this call should be performed to. You have an ability to prioritize the service call by setting the priority, and also a type of the service call. It can be delivery or return call, or a call for the swap of the equipment or to do some service, etc. So there is a number of types that are available for you, and in this way you are communicating information between different people. So salesperson, for example, can communicate client's request to the dispatcher. So by assigning a responsible person on the service call, the next person will be notified by the system that you have a new service call, so please perform some actions. So that's a great communication tool, and actually you can consider this service call module as the ticketing system, internal ticketing system, when you capture all clients' requests. Another feature of the RigER software is the field technician calendar, where on one screen you can see all jobs assigned to different people. This information is taken from the tickets directly, and depending on the time on the ticket, you will see all these tickets in every single day for different people. And also you can enter vacations or days off for people, and that will be reflected on the field technician calendar. So again, this tool allows you to see the availability of your employees or workload of your employees, and just better plan your jobs. Now let's take a quick look at the reports and dashboards of the documents that I have already explained, and I would ask Arsen to step in and go ahead with this section.
Thank you, Gleb. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. So let's talk about the reports and dashboards that we have for our internal operations. The first one that we are going to talk about today is the assembly history report. And as you have seen, we have the ability to combine several unit numbers or several items rather into one specific item and assign a unit number to that item. And this report will provide us with a history based on a specific time period that we select, on which assembly list that we have created, and what parts and components did that particular assembly include in itself. So it's a handy tool to have, and you can always rely on it when you need to have the analytical information about all of your assemblies. The next report is the equipment defects report, defects by period, and this is rather more relying on the results of inspections that we perform, and based on the inspections that come out with defects, this report will gather the information and include all the equipment pieces that we have and provide the equivalence by the specific time frame, by months, either year by months or maybe week by days, etc. There are several options to select from. So let's move on to the next report, which is the repairs history report, obviously a very important report in the system. This report will provide us with the history and the actual document numbers and more details about every single repair that we have done on a particular piece of equipment. So be it a rental unit that we need to look up, or be it a particular unit number that we need to see, we will see the repair card that was in place. We will see where the actual repair was done, in which shop. We will see how many days it was in shop, and the repair date, time, and the actual cost that was associated with the repair itself. Now, moving on, the next slide is the repair dashboard. Having having reports is a really handy tool, but having a dashboard can help to manage the ongoing information, because reports rely on a static information, and dashboards provide you with an interface that is dynamic and will allow you to manipulate different parts of the actual process. So the repair dashboard, what it will allow to do with different repaired cars that we have in the system, it can allow us to change the priority of the repair, set the actual details for the repair card, be it the field technician name or be it the repair date, time. We can even perform a repair and close the repair right from within this dashboard with one single click. So it's a very dynamic and powerful tool to see all the ongoing, and not only ongoing, but also previous repairs on one screen, and be able to distinguish them with the color coding and see what the actual priorities are for those repairs. Let's move on to the next slide and talk about the internal job tickets. And these are actually, as Gleb has already described in detail, these are the tickets that we are going to use for our internal jobs. And this report will provide us with basically with the list of all the tickets that we have created during the selected time period. So we set the time period, and we can see what tickets we have in which shop, and what field tech, and actually which field technician was operating on that particular ticket. The next report is again associated with the with the internal jobs mostly, and it will excuse me, it will also show you the employee hours that we have in the service tickets. It's called the employee hours report. This report shows all the time that we have spent on the job, and it breaks down that time by billable, payable, regular, overtime hours, and per diem, and even bonuses if we indicate those in the tickets that are accompanying these jobs. And it provides the structure as the basically as based on the employee and the job that was performed and during the time period that was performed. So let's move on to the next report. And this is the item transfers, that we move equipment from one shop to another shop in our internal operations, and it will show us all the equipment by the rental units and actual unit numbers. We can see which actual document was involved for the movement, and we can see the actual dates and times and from and to shops. Moving on to the next slide would be the service call dashboard, and as Gleb has described a few minutes ago, the service call is a document that will allow us to record basically every kind of interaction that we have with the client, and the service call dashboard will allow us to manage those interactions and actually dynamically govern all the steps that we need to perform or to see. So again, color-coded screens, we have statuses for the service calls, we have the excuse me, we have the service call types and priority selection, we have the location and the department for the service call. So we have all the information that is needed there. The dashboard is again dynamic. We can double click on it and perform different actions for every single line item in the dashboard.
If you still have questions, or maybe just have not thought of the questions but have, we'll think of them in a bit. Feel free to reach out to us and email. It's RigER at support@rigER.us. You can also always call us. We're attending our phone all the time. And if you are not a user of RigER yet but wanted to see more of what the RigER is, just book a demo. Book a demo and we'll just walk you through the system. Okay, so I don't see any more questions. So on that note, I know it may have been short, but it's short and sweet. We hope we presented what we wanted to showcase to you today. So we'll look forward to talking to you next week when we're going to be talking a little bit about our insights for the post-COVID business operations in the oil field. An interesting thing that we've done a series of interviews. We're going to be revealing some of the insights and interesting information. But in the meantime, for today's topic, the effective internal operations in RigER, I think we've exhausted all the questions and wanted to thank everyone for participating today. And as I said, feel free to reach out to us anytime.
Thank you very much for your attention and participation in this webinar. Thank you for the great questions related to the topics of this webinar. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks and have a good day.
Thank you.